What if the thing holding your projects back isn't your tools, your budget, or your skill level, but the way you're thinking about them? I used to finish a project and feel almost proud. Almost. Something was always a little off. Sometimes the proportions felt awkward. Maybe the finished project looked fine, but it didn't feel intentional. Maybe it worked, but it just didn't sing. Hi, I'm Jeremy, industrial designer by training, public servant by day, and a passionate maker at night. Before design school, I fumbled through making projects, but everything changed when I learned to ask the right questions. I've always been drawn to making things and planned on becoming an architect, and I had no idea industrial design was actually a thing until right before I applied to design school. Now, many folks I've encountered thought that designers were people who only drew pictures or made things look pretty, and engineers or architects were the people who actually built things. But industrial design isn't just about decoration. It's about solving problems with intention. Thinking about who uses an object, how they use it, where it lives, how it feels in the hand, how it communicates its purpose before anyone reads a single instruction. Think about the last time you picked up a really well-made tool. You probably knew how to hold it before anyone told you. Now that's not magic, that's design. So what changes when you start thinking like an industrial designer? When you start projects, you stop thinking about the materials first, and you start thinking about the person and who's going to be using the product. Before you cut a single piece of wood or weld a single joint, ask, who is this for? How will they use it? Where will they use it? What does the object need to communicate? These aren't abstract questions. They help to define and guide your design and every decision you make downstream. Here, let me give you an example. When I was thinking about building my outdoor benches, my instinct was just jump straight in, cutting and screwing like a maniac. Instead, I stopped and asked, how can I build this better? To start, I set some constraints that I wanted to work within. Since I was designing these for myself, I wanted 2 benches to be light enough to reconfigure on my deck as I saw fit. I wanted the design to be simple and not look like every other DIY bench I saw on YouTube with right angles everywhere. And lastly, I wanted to make the best use of easily accessible, inexpensive material and produce as little waste as possible. Now that little design brief helped me to intentionally produce a bench that actually fit the life that it was being built for, not just a seat to hold weight. Now I built those benches around 5 years ago and they're still going strong. Industrial designers work from a set of principles, and I want to share a few that I almost always think about as I build new projects. The first is that the form follows the function. The shape of a thing should come from what it needs to do and not the other way around. If you find yourself making something more complicated just to look interesting, that's a signal to pause and really consider your design decisions, and if they align with your original intent. Try not to overcomplicate things. Keeping it simple really does help. The second is to think about the end user. Before you design anything, spend some time with the person who will use it. Watch how they move. Try to learn what frustrates them, and do your best to see what they don't even notice. Even if that's you, try to observe yourself honestly. The third is to leverage constraints as a creative fuel. Every limitation, whether it be budget, material, time, tools, can actually be a design prompt. Sometimes the best solutions come from working within the tightest constraints. This can also be a great way to get out of a creative rut. The fourth is iteration. Industrial designers don't get it right the first time. They come up with an idea, they prototype, they test, they learn from that, and they revise. Now makers can do the same thing. You take the time to create a cardboard mock-up before you cut any expensive material, and this one easy prototype can potentially save you hours and headaches down the line. Okay, here's where it gets practical. Before your next project, I want you to sit down, even if it's just for 5 to 10 minutes, and answer some basic questions. You're not building a mood board, you're not writing a big shopping list, you're just going to answer a few questions to get your mind clear. Number 1, what are you making and why? Describe your idea in plain words. What problem does it solve, or what need does it fill? And what got you excited about this project in the first place? Number 2, who is this for? Who is going to be using this thing? Describe them, their age, their habits, their needs, their skill level. Is it just for you? Your family? A specific community? If you can go speak to them, do so. Number 3, what must this actually do? List the functions that it needs to perform and be as specific as you can. And remember to focus on the problem. Number 4, what are the limitations? Think about the size restrictions, the weight limits, the materials you must use or avoid using, user safety, the tools you own or have access to, and even your own skill level. And also what can't be compromised within these limitations. Number 5, how should this look and feel when it's done? Describe the vibe, the color, the texture, the finish. Should it look like it's handmade or machine made? Should it be rough or refined? You can grab photos as references to inspire you along the way. Now, of course, there are more considerations, but taking a moment to answer these basic questions will serve as your design guideline. I formatted these questions into a cheat sheet that you can download, print off, and pin up near your workbench as a quick reference. The makers that I admire most aren't the ones with the fanciest tools, they're the ones that design and build with intention. And that starts before the first cut. Again, the link to download your design guideline is in the description below. It's free, it's one page, and it might be the most useful thing in your workbench that doesn't plug in. When you go to use it, when you sit down to start thinking about your next project, I'd love to know what you plan on building. As always, thanks for watching. Now go make something.